Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading Sunday worship service. I have to remind myself, even though I've done this a million times. My name is Allison Sillers, and I'm a member of the Worship Arts and Worship Tech teams, and my pronouns are she and her. We choose to share our pronouns because we know people of all genders are holy, whole, and loved. Now, normally I would share my pronouns and move on to the rest of my welcome and talk to you about our community's shared value and mission and social hour. Today, I'm going to stop here to share, and easy not to share because they don't challenge the assumptions of those we share them with. Our pronouns create so little friction that we can forget to share them. As a straight, white, cisgender woman, I spent some time reflecting this week on welcome and pronouns. I went back to some of the essays and poems and articles I read when the child of one of my closest friends started sharing at age 5 or 6 that their pronouns are they and them. I wanted then to figure out why I felt uncomfortable with those pronouns, why I never felt uncomfortable with pronouns before. At the time, I read an online post by Alok, an internationally acclaimed poet, comedian, public speaker, and actor. When trans people say, respect our pronouns, we are not just asking you to shift your language, we are asking you to shift an entire paradigm around sex, gender, and race. It is not enough to change one word when we are asking for the end of an entire worldview. What we are saying is not just this word makes me feel good, but rather I demand the right to narrate my body and my history on my own terms in a system that is predicated on categorizing, containing, and criminalizing me. When we say respect, what we mean is fight like hell for me. What we mean is we weren't just assigned this gender at birth. We are non-consensually gendered every day, and what are you going to do about that? This is not an opportunity to be politically correct. It is an opportunity to stop being incorrect. And so we welcome you here today. We welcome you with love and joy and authenticity and a little bit of glitter as we join together to create a space where we nurture and explore individual spirituality, build a committed and loving community, and help heal our world. If this is your first time with us, we're so happy you've joined us. Please visit our webpage to learn more about our beloved community. There you can connect with our staff, or for those of us here in the sanctuary this morning, please come speak to any of us you see up on the chancel today in Fellowship Hall after the service. If you're watching this service online during its initial broadcast at 10 a.m. on Sunday, June 2nd, please join us after the service for conversation via Zoom, hosted by David Adamson. Thank you, David. If you're attending in person, please join us in Fellowship Hall following the service today for social hour. Welcome. You are loved, and you, each of you, and the multitudes you contain are holy and whole.
Thank you, Allison. That was like the whole sermon right there. That was a mic drop. Thank you very much. My name is Reverend Laura Solomon. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am the minister here at UUCR, and it is a privilege to serve this community and the world with you. As we welcome in Pride Month, we have a joyful, sparkly, rainbow-filled worship service this morning. Ours is a church that knows all people are beloved by us and by the divine. Our opening words come from the author M. Jade Kaiser. They say, "Every time the word gay rolls off my tongue, when the words queer or intersex or trans or non-binary or bisexual bless my lips, no matter what I'm talking about, I am also always sending a love letter, casting a lifeline, praying a prayer, and yes, obviously, waving a flag. So many generations of silence and slurs, of words of violence and of quiet, lonely. Does anyone else feel this way? My heart could burst every time I speak the imperfect but earnest attempts at trying to find ways to communicate the lineages of us. Every word of reaching towards each other. You're not alone. We've got each other. Isn't it divine being this way? This is indeed part of my queer agenda, to expose children as early as possible to all the possibilities of their beautiful becoming, to leave no doubt that whichever way their love blossoms and their gender blooms and their body unfurls, they will be protected, cherished, loved. In the world as it is, to even begin to balance out all of the messages otherwise, these things cannot be said enough. So we say them in every form they can take across language and culture. We say them as early and as often as we can. We say them especially when they're not welcome. We say them with all the love we've got, and we will never, ever stop. Let us worship together. We light our chalice this morning with Unitarian Universalists all around the globe. I invite you to call into your heart the flame you kindle this morning, the flame of love, of truth, of community, of commitment to justice. Please join me in reciting our chalice lighting words. They can be found on the laminated sheets in the back of your pews. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. Each week we recite our children's affirmation as a reminder of the most important elements of who we are. Do I have any kids who would like to help with reciting our children's affirmation today? Awesome. I've got 2 helpers coming. Oh, Charlie, come on up. Charlotte, it's good to see you. Thanks, friends. We are Unitarian Universalists, the Church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. Thank you for your help. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 1040, in your teal hymnal. Hush, we will sing verses 1, 2, and
I'd like to invite the children forward for Time for All Ages, and anybody else who would like to come up and hear a story. Hey, everybody. Hey. All right, so we have a story today that Reverend Laura picked out especially for you at the library, and it is called The Meaning of Pride, written by Rosie Thor and illustrated by Sam Kirk. Every year in June, we celebrate Pride. Everyone is welcome, whether lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, pansexual, and more. And allies can join too. In 1969, members of the LGBTQIA+ community, like Marsha P. Johnson, right over there, and Storm de la Viere. Yes, de la Viere stood up for their rights. Unfair laws made safe spaces like the Stonewall Inn in New York City targets and put their patrons in danger. On June 28th, these activists fought back for their community. LGBTQIA+ people have been fighting for our rights for a long time. We've worked queer folks throughout history. It's important that we hear and know who they are. These pictures are Emma Goldman, Audre Lorde, Harvey Milk, James Baldwin, Miss Major Griffin Gracie, and Oscar Wilde. To honor the past, present, and future of the LGBTQIA+ culture, we march in pride festivals around the world that celebrate our community. But what does pride mean? Pride means wearing whatever you want. If it makes you feel good, it's fierce. These pictures are of some fabulous queer people. Here is Billy Porter, Lena Waithe, RuPaul Charles, Christian Siriano, and MJ Rodriguez. Don't they look fierce? Pride means celebrating your wins and bouncing back when you lose. Pride means taking the leap and getting back up if you fall. These are pictures of some athletes who are members of the LGBTQ community. Megan Rapinoe, Simone Augustus, Adam Rippon, and Tesha Torres. Pride means reaching for the stars and never apologizing for how you express yourself. Pride means fighting for your rights and the rights of others. Pride means running toward a better future. So these are pictures of people in politics who are in the LGBTQ community. This is Kate Brown and Andrea Jenkins. Pride means making your voice heard. Pride means living your truth, or dancing it, or singing it. Pride means taking care of your heart, body, and mind. Pride means love is love. Is love. Is love. And most of all, pride means loving yourself. What does pride mean to you? Does anybody want to share? Do you have one? No? Anyone have ideas?
I think it means being yourself no matter what.
Nice. There's a special letter at the end of the book that's written to the kids who are reading it, and we're going to share the letter with you. Dear reader, pride is an important feeling, just like happiness, sadness, excitement, and love. This book is about people who are proud of who they are and share that pride with others. It can be hard to feel proud sometimes, especially when people tell us not to be. For the LGBTQIA+ community, being loud and proud is a big win. That's what pride is all about. Every June, the LGBTQIA+ community honors the people who fought for our freedom to be who we are. Seeing other people celebrate their identity can help us feel ready to celebrate our own. Celebrating your identity doesn't have to be public, though. You can celebrate with rainbows and parades, or you can celebrate by just being yourself. So, reader, we ask you to be proud, not just in June, but year-round. Be proud of your successes. Be proud of your skills. Be proud of your happiness and proud of yourself for who you are. Pride is not the opposite of being humble. It is the opposite of being ashamed. You deserve to be proud. Wherever you are in your journey, we are proud of you. Thanks, everyone. Let's sing our kids and youth out to religious ed.
We take time during our service to light our candles of community, peace, and justice. We light our red candle of community to signify our interconnection. Wherever you are in time and space, newcomer or a longtime member, here in the sanctuary or joining us virtually, we light this candle holding you in love. I invite you to speak aloud the name or names of people who are on your mind and heart today, that we might call them fully into this space. We light our blue candle of peace for all the places worldwide where people live with the threat of war and violence. And we light our yellow candle of justice. We pray that all people everywhere might live their lives in freedom, and that we each will do our part in the work for justice and liberation for all in our global community. As we recommit ourselves to this work this morning, please join me in voicing this commitment by saying amen. Our prayer this morning comes from the Reverend Douglas Taylor. Gracious and loving God, from whom all things come and to whom all things return, we gather on the edge of another week, and for some of us on the edge of our strength. We come buoyed by events of our week or weighed down by them. Or we arrive in some paradoxical mix thereof. We are here in our Sunday assembly of hope and restoration. At times we come weary and worn down, and for some of us, that is how we arrive today. At other times we come with questions, with a longing, or with something to offer. But for those who come today shattered, broken, lonely, lost, let us offer a prayer of resilience. Again this week, we test the tender places in our hearts and in our lives to see what healing may occur. Gratitude is often a source of healing. So we give thanks for the landscapes of grace in our lives, for music and for good companions, for the guidance of great principles and the examples of integrity around us. We give thanks for all that lifts us up and for lessons that lead us on. For the times when we are brought low by anxiety or adversity, show us the hidden wells of love we can tap into. help us rise up once more. Once more again will surely be enough. Remind us that we do not strive in vain, that we are part of a chorus, that resilience is in our bones, that peace will prevail on earth, and that healing and grace come like soft rain. Spirit of life and love, be an ever-present strength upon our journeys. Teach us that in falling down, we do rise again. We do rise again. May it be so. If you have a joy or a sorrow you would like to honor through lighting a silent candle, you are invited to come forward now.
Today's reading is A Protest and a Party by Reverend Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. People sometimes ask, is pride a protest or a party? And the answer is, of course, yes. And why not? Why not rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are? So bring all of that with you this morning. Bring your policy demands, bring your glitter, bring your Supreme Court broken heart, bring your rainbow socks, bring the emptiness you feel for our siblings gone too soon. Bring your Gloria Estefan remix, bring your tender hope for change, bring your most garish eyeshadow, bring your spirit, tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate, gather up all these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens or celebrate these joys alone.
Our second reading is a responsive litany. Your response is in your order of service. You will say, "We are precious and we are powerful." We come from fierce freedom fighters, from the survivors and the dead of the HIV crisis who organized and fought for their lives, from the Black kings and queens who ruled the ballroom, who insisted we dance, even amidst death and devastation, From these ancestors we learn. We are precious and we are powerful.
With the tender-hearted butches and the powerful femmes, with the strong twinks and the soft bears, with all the complexities that live within each of us, we know that we are whole, just as we are. We are precious, we are powerful.
From the Black Dykes, the trans Chicana sisters, the Boricua boys, and every other sibling who is told they can't bring their full self to queer community, from them we learn. We are precious, and we are powerful.
To the elders who've seen it all, to those with one toe out of the closet, to those who are still in it, to those who tore down the closet altogether, we say, we are precious and we are powerful.
Oh, that's me again. That's okay. In the face of hatred, in the faces of those who deny our wholeness, we root ourselves in the truth and we know we are precious and we are powerful.
From the dance floor to the Capitol Rotunda, from our kitchen tables to the White House, from jail cells to classrooms to pulpits, whether whispered or shouted, we will and do proclaim we are precious and we are powerful.
Thank you, Allison. There is a danger in preaching about pride as a queer minister. You see, when you're a queer minister, there's this weird thing that happens. Because you show up as queer every week on the chancel, just in the way you embody life and approach the world, people start to think you are preaching about queerness all the time. Something about existing with a queer haircut or a body that signals not straight somehow makes people hear gay, even when you're not saying the word. And in a sense, I guess it's true that every sermon I preach embodies queerness, even if it isn't about queerness. Given who I am, my perspective is uniquely queer. Perhaps my favorite definition of queerness states queer as in always becoming, as in less this or that and more multi-layered, multi-dimensional, and complex, as in intimately experienced and beyond definition. Fortunately, or unfortunately, this queer perspective is the only perspective I've got. So on the one hand, I want this first Sunday of Pride Month to be purely about queer joy. I want glitter and party and protest and rainbows. I want drag queens and rainbow eyeshadow and as many rainbow flags as we can manage. After all, pride is about being out and proud and visible. It is about refusing to hide our fullest, truest selves. And here in Reading, here in Massachusetts, it might feel possible to do that. I was walking around Andover yesterday, and nearly every store has rainbow balloons outside and rainbow merchandise in the windows. I went to the library a few days ago in search of a book for the time for all ages, and the library had an entire cart of children's books with queer representation, books about queer history, books about all the various pronouns one can use to describe oneself, and books about coming out and people being joyfully and fully themselves. But as I was walking around Andover, feeling myself and all of my queer gloriousness, I was thinking about a Facebook post I saw earlier in the day from my colleague, the Reverend Joanna Fontaine Crawford, who serves our congregation in Live Oak, Texas. Reverend Joanna posts informational videos on TikTok about who we are as Unitarian Universalists. She posted a screenshot of someone responding to one of her videos. They say, "I just came across your video. I'm trans-mask, raised Catholic, and I've never heard of Unitarian Universalism. Looked up my local church, and the speaker this weekend is a drag performer. I'm bawling alone in my room because for the first time in my whole entire life, I can genuinely say I'm looking forward to attending a service this Sunday. Can't believe I never knew about this in my own town." This, for me, gets to the heart of why we need pride, not just generally in the world, but specifically at church, even in our church. This is why it's important to talk about queerness explicitly from the pulpit. Reverend Crawford writes, "Unitarian Universalists, we need to talk about our faith. I get that it feels awkward. You don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to be seen as religious. But your silence means that the people who need us don't know that we exist. Tell people about why you love your congregation, what a difference Unitarian Universalism has made in your life. Stop being the best-kept secret in town. Let our people find us." So I ask you, if you were to be loud about your Unitarian Universalism, what would you do? If you were to talk about Unitarian Universalism and what it means to you, why it is important, what would you say? If we define evangelical as meaning sharing the good news, then we need to be evangelical about our Unitarian Universalism. If we define evangelical as meaning sharing the good news, then how might you be evangelical about Unitarian Universalism? Because lives depend on it. The American Civil Liberties Union is tracking 515 anti-LGBTQ laws in the US right now. Last year, 586 laws negatively impacting trans and gender expansive people were introduced across the US, and 85 of them passed. In light of that, what does it mean to be evangelical about our faith? To share the good news of Unitarian Universalism? What would it mean to let people know about who we are and what we are for? Rainbows and glitter are great, and everyone from Target to the town of Andover seem to have that part covered. But church is the place where we can go deeper. I'm thinking about our neighboring church, First Parish Unitarian Universalist in Malden, who helped to found the Pink Haven Coalition. Has anybody heard of the Pink Haven Coalition? Very few folks. The Pink Haven Coalition, which is now sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Association, the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, the Unitarian Universalist College of Social Justice, and other organizations, exists to create a network of safety and direct support for trans beloveds and their families who need to relocate, access health care across state lines, or stay as safe as possible where they are. This has meant fundraising for people who need to relocate across state lines because they are not safe in the state where they are living. It has meant providing funding for access to medical care across state lines. This is the work our faith is doing. This is the work of our faith. There's a danger in being an out queer minister because the church you are serving can believe they have arrived. as though having a queer minister is the ultimate achievement or the end of the journey in queer liberation. My colleague, the Reverend Chris Rothbauer, wrote about his dreams for Unitarian Universalism and his experience as a queer minister. He says, "I don't want a wishy-washy faith, one that uses me to signal virtue. We're so enlightened. We support same-sex marriage, as if it's a contest to see who can hold the most correct positions, and not my life they're talking about. Where were they when a trans woman was murdered in Montgomery? Or when a queer couple was denied the right to adopt children? Or when Congress failed yet again to pass an employment non-discrimination act that would keep people like me from being fired just for being who we are? I don't want a faith that cares more about what conservative neighbors, who would never join us anyway, think than about affirming my humanity, who understand that throwing your lot in with marginalized people requires more than talking about your friendship with the lesbian couple down the street. I want a faith that doesn't consider me as a queer minister, but rather does its damnedest to live up to our professed values. I want a faith that doesn't think decades of marginalization can be erased with a few good deeds. I don't want a faith that claims to be universalist, but constantly judges some of us for the sin of not conforming to ideas of who we should be. Instead, I want to build this faith. I'll do it with my own two hands if I have to. If I pick up some friends along the way, maybe we just might be able to build something spectacular together. So what we must do is twofold. We must be constantly building our faith into the faith we know it can be. And we must be loud. We must be evangelical about who we are. So today I offer you both a charge and a blessing. The charge is to find a way this month. We'll start just with Pride Month for now. Find a way to be evangelical about who we are. Maybe you donate to the Pink Haven Coalition and then tell your friends about it, because our faith is leading this charge. Maybe you share why Pride Month is recognized in our congregation, because an essential piece of our values is that all people are holy, whole, and loved. And maybe you share how you put this into practice or see it practiced here at church. And I also offer you a blessing, a glitter blessing, a recognition of the sacred beauty inherent in every person. Glitter has long been a symbol for the LGBTQ+ movement of gritty, sparkly hope in the face of prejudice and oppression, of joy and pride in the face of hatred and bigotry. Glitter is resilient and tenacious. The briefest beam of sunlight causes it to shine out even in the dustiest and dreariest of spaces, and its beauty comes from its brokenness. Glitter sparkles because it is many different broken pieces coming together, changing in every moment as the light changes. So we are going to share some glitter with one another. The glitter is mixed with some aloe. You will come up and Allison and I will offer you a glitter blessing. It is a reminder that each of us is beautiful in our sacred imperfection, in our ever-changing selves, in our glorious plurality. As we play some music, you are invited to come forward, Show us where on your face, your arm, your neck, your hand you would like to receive your glitter blessing. And then circle back to your seat. Come down the sides and return to your seat through the middle. If you cannot come forward and you would like to receive a blessing, please raise your hand and one of us will come to you. Thank you, Bonnie.
Each Sunday, UUCR gives away half the money received in the collection plate to a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values. It is a simple yet powerful way for each of us to help heal the world by learning about and supporting the good works of charitable organizations and becoming more involved in our community. Our Share the Plate recipient for the month of June is Community Meals at UU Haverhill in memory of Sally Lieberman. Sally Lieberman was UUCR's beloved director of lifespan religious education for 6 years. She retired from UUCR in June 2022 and died in May of 2023. During Sally's time with us, she often mentioned the Community Meals program at the UU Church of Haverhill, her home congregation, and how important it was to her. Since 1985, Community Meals has offered a free sit-down hot meal on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of every month to all who are in need in the Haverhill community. Volunteers prepare the meal and usually welcome and serve about 50 guests. In her letter to the congregation after Sally died in May 2023, Reverend Laura said, "So many of you have spoken to me of Sally's kindness, her gentle spirit, her deep spirituality and love." On a personal note, Sally started at UUCR at the same time my family did. Sorry. I remember her first day was our first regular church service. Sally was there with my boys when they went to their first ever RE classes. She was there on Zoom, lighting candles with them during COVID. She was there with me when I shared my cancer diagnosis at church 2.5 years ago. Thanks, Melissa. I wish I could sit with Sally today. Sally's touched so many of our lives, our children's lives, and I know many of you miss her as I do. So please give generously to our Share the Plate offering to support Community Meals in honor of Sally and to support the mission of UUCR. If this is your first time with us, please let the plate pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. Thank you, choir.
I'm Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator, and my pronouns are she and her. Welcome to the month of June and our monthly theme of the gift of renewal. Soul Matters this month reminds us that we are renewed by so many things: nature, each other, memory, music, play, solitude, silence, and of course our faith. Through small groups, calls to justice work, worship, caring for one another, covenant and accountability, our faith breathes new life into us. In our June newsletter that came out this week, there are messages from staff and volunteers on renewal and messages specific to the summer months ahead. This summer, we have a brand new opportunity to renew together, and it's all about connection. There are two opportunities most weeks: our Sunday morning social time and our Thursday connections. From June 30th through August 25th, our Sunday mornings will consist of only social time from 10 to 11 a.m. You're invited to join us for a cold beverage and congregational conversation with others in Fellowship Hall, made possible by our congregational volunteers. And then you'll have an opportunity to nourish mind, body, and spirit as we gather at Lake Quannapowitt in Wakefield each Thursday evening this summer at 6 p.m. to connect with ourselves and one another. You can drop by for whatever you feel like doing, for however long you can. You can read more about it in our newsletter. Come to our summer kickoff, which will be on solstice on June 20th at 6 p.m. For June, our governing board shares that our paperwork is nearly finalized for our new Loring House rental agreement with Rosebud Daycare that will begin on July 1st. Thank you, governing board. In order to meet this deadline, we need the wisdom and support of all our members this month as we move everything out of Loring's classrooms, closets, and offices. If you have any specific information about items in Loring that you think would be helpful for someone to know, please speak with Allison or Sherry, or sign up for one of the upcoming dates in our newsletter. We need many volunteers as possible to help sort and pack what's on the first 2 floors of Loring, so please sign up to help. Join our Proud Together team. We're going to march at the North Shore Pride Parade again this year in Salem, and we'd love to have you join us. Please RSVP with the link in the newsletter. Our congregational life this week, we have Buddhist meditation on Monday and social crafty drop-in on Tuesday. This Saturday, all are invited to celebrate the life of Ann Model here in the sanctuary at 11 a.m. Next Sunday is a multi-gen service for our Bridging Youth and our Teacher Appreciation Day. It will have a special appearance by our UUCR Children's Choir, who will meet with Kimberly and Bonnie in the sanctuary at 9:15 as they're going to sing a song together with our choir. Caregivers are reminded they can drop children off or stay with them to watch or sing along. For today, join us for our social hours, both in person and Zoom. We want to thank Amy Stewart for the beautiful chancel flowers. There's a dedication in the order of service, as well as to the White family for loaning us the chancel quilt that was made last year in memory of Sally. We'd like to thank all of our volunteers who made this morning happen, and thank you for being a vital part of our congregational life. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 1035, Freedom is Coming.
Is fantastic. Freedom is coming. Oh, yes, we know. We are going to extinguish our chalice. Our words are printed on your laminated sheets. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our words of benediction come from the Reverend Cricket Hall. May the drag stage rise to meet you. May the world rise to accept and embrace you. May the rainbow of love enfold you. May your fluidity never be hindered. May your pronouns always be supported and your dead name forgotten. May those you invite into your life remain loyal. May your chosen family lift you up and catch you when you need it. May you be able to catch others when they need it. May you remember that sensitivity is not weakness, but instead great strength welling up inside of you. And until we meet again, may you remember that you are loved and you are divine. Go in peace.